Let's introduce our next speaker. That would be Amit Anshu, who's the head of sales, GSI and IT/ITS verticals India at AWS. Giving a brief introduction for Mr. Amit, he holds over 21 plus years of experience in sales and regional leadership and people management roles across India and Asia region. Also, he has led global strategic alliances and specialist sales functions. With this, please welcome Mr. Amit with a huge round of applause.
Hi everyone, I think I'm sure you would have loved the demo. Great product, great platform. Let me add a rider built on AWS. But so let me begin by congratulating the UST team here for building a great platform. And I think as Vinod said, it's just not a wrapper. There's a lot of innovation built in, and the fact that there are 4 patents which are baked in or which power this innovation is a huge testimony, right? So I'm Amit Anshu, and I lead the India GSI and the IT/ITS industry vertical for AWS. Before this role, I was responsible for running the strategy and the transformation initiative for AWS in India, and prior to that, I was running the Asia Pacific strategic alliances. So let me, how, and I have 10 minutes. I'll try and keep it to 10 minutes. So there are 2 parts broadly to my presentation. One is I'll talk about the AWS India mission and why it is a super exciting time to be in India right now, right? What are we doing in India? And second was a part which Vinod mentioned, where I would like to, among many other things which customers why customers look at AWS, I'll just pick up 2 of them and try and highlight and bring out those highlights for you, right? So first of all, the AWS India mission, right? So AWS India mission is to empower businesses, to empower builders, and to build a better India, right? Now this is an audacious goal, but everyone in AWS India is committed to it, right? Our leadership, both in India and global, work towards this, right? So, and our actions typically would point towards this. Now, India as a country is huge, right? And we have a lot of intractable problems. We have a diversity of problems. Amazon as a company, AWS India specifically has made huge investments into India, right? And AWS India specifically has given the power of cloud computing into the hands of our customers, partners, great partners like UST, and you have got the cloud tools to make sure that you are able to create impacts at scale, disrupt, right, and reinvent technology experiences. Now, this is a slide basically which talks about why it is super exciting to be in India. Okay, clearly we have the dividends of demography, we have a dividend of democracy, and we have a dividend of the digital, right? One of the aspects, right, I would really want you to look at is there's clearly, and I think somebody mentioned, there's clearly a democratization of the whole technology in India. Today, for example, almost 50% of Indian population has access to smartphones, they have access to internet, right? Population, young and old, so they are today willing to and able to consume digital services, including the financial services. To put the credit where it is due, the government of India, right, is also sort of launching a number of initiatives, including Umang, Digital Locker, Aadhaar. These are also kind of really propelling the innovation on cloud. Now, one of the interesting things which I would like to bring up is that India is a home to 5 million plus developer ecosystem, right? And that's going to become almost 10 million in the next 3 or 4 years. India has 600,000 advanced skills cloud experts. Now, what is that powering? So that is powering almost 60,000 plus startups, 100 plus unicorns, and India today is the 3rd largest startup ecosystem in India, right? I'd like to bring your attention to the last point. CIOs today, right? given all the skills which we have in India, given all the skills which we have across enterprises, CIOs today are looking to move a lot of functionalities which were built in data centers around the custom applications into a SaaS kind of a form factor. On the other side, you will see great partners, companies with advanced deep tech skills, UST for example, companies who have domain knowledge, again UST for example. So they're also trying. So in the last so many years of their existence, they have created number of IPs, they have built number of assets, they built number of products. They are trying to leverage the cloud ecosystem to really repurpose all these IPs, all these assets, all these products, right, into a cloud delivered, I will say, purpose-driven, modernized architecture. So on one side, you have the CIOs and the enterprises looking to move functionality from their data center into a SaaS kind of architecture. On the other side, you have great companies, great partners, kind of UST, who are looking to build or repurpose, modernize platforms and products. And when these two initiatives meet, you have a huge momentum. And that is why you will see that India today is the third largest SaaS ecosystem, right? And as we become, more and more in terms of, for example, India is going to become the second largest cloud. India will house number of cloud experts, and that will be the second largest. You will see these numbers grow. Okay, so we talked about, how is India witnessing more of a simplification and a democratization of technology. Another important thing, Indian consumers, we always know, are very beautifully and wonderfully dissatisfied, and that's the reason why you'll see that Indian companies innovate at a very, very high pace, right? Again, I'll say UST is, for example, one example, and there's so many companies, right, who are eternally trying to solve very unique problems which exist in India, in metros, around rural. So that's that second point. That third point, Indian innovators are taking the world by storm. So now, given the cloud ubiquity, innovation is not limited to cities. It is across student dorms, it's across farmlands, and it's happening everywhere. So we talked about it. AWS India's mission is to empower builders and businesses to build a better India. Now quickly, this has been our journey in India. So AWS has been in existence for last 16 years. Our journey in India started in 2011 when we had our first office in Mumbai. 5 years after that, we had our first region, and I'll talk about what a region is in Mumbai. And 5 years after that, when we saw humongous, massive growth in the way customer adopted cloud, we had to sort of expand and scale the region, and we had the third availability zone added in the Mumbai region. 1 year after that, again, now you can see the whole acceleration of the cloud momentum. In 2020 November, we had to announce the second and one of the largest regions to be coming up in Hyderabad. And again, I'll talk about what a region is. There are very few countries in the world today which have two regions. India is one of them. So that speaks a lot about the kind of innovation, the kind of growth which we are seeing in India. As we moved ahead, India, so there are customers across the country, they wanted to be on cloud. In the process, we came up with 40+ POPs, point of presence. We had 6 locations today where we have direct connect, sort of a connectivity. Very important thing, and I think we are really proud of this. In the last 5 years, we have touched 3.5 people in terms of delivering them cloud skills. India today contributes 2 million+. So almost 60-65% of people whom we have touched in terms of cloud skills would come from India. Right? This is a very important slide, and I'm sure this should not be a surprise to many. 74 of top 100 customers by market cap obviously trust us. They have our mind share, and they run their critical workloads on AWS, large conglomerates. aviation companies, hotels, retail chains. Some of the largest banks in India, right? Some of the largest private banks in India today are on AWS, right? There are large private banks who today, in a public forum, the CEOs have talked about, migrating or modernizing 70% of their entire workload on AWS. Banks typically today are looking to drive their data strategy on cloud. Their digital strategy is clearly a cloud first, and things like customer 360, customer insights, and all the actionable intelligence coming out of it. For example, fraud detection, customer acquisition, how do you predict customer churn, leveraging all the AML stack, right? So all of that today, at a very broad scale, is getting done on AWS from these banks. The insurance companies in India were the very early adopters, right? And today, a large number of insurance companies in India are all in on cloud. So not only are they doing their digital strategy on AWS, they are also running their core policy administration on AWS. 5 out of top 10 NBFCs are running on AWS, critical applications, LMS, LOS, and they're also all in on AWS, right? So you will see a huge amount of some of the largest corporates from AWS, from India running on AWS. Quickly, yeah. So okay. So this is important, and apart from many differentiators which we have in AWS, and that means a large partner and the customer ecosystem. We have the broadest and the deepest set of services. There are 2 things which I would want to bring up. One, of course, is the kind of global scale which we have, right? And that's why partners like UST would choose us. The kind of availability, the kind of resiliency which we would bring as an underlay to the applications, to the platforms which would run. Very quickly, so I talked about region. So region is a physically separated geographical area which has got a cluster of data centers. Mumbai is one region, Hyderabad is coming up. Within a region, you will have availability zones. Each availability zone will have redundant multiple data centers which are in logical groups. There are multiple availability zones within a region, and each availability zone, right, will have redundant power, cooling, physical security, and they will be connected with each other through ultra low latency, high speed network connectivity, which will allow you as a customer to run very low latency applications or your production environments, right? So this is very, very unique to AWS. Very important. So you can see, for example, we have multiple regions, multiple AGs within a region, and there's also a redundancy across the transit gateway. So the way they would connect on the global backbone, there is complete redundancy. There are multiple transit gateways within a region for the traffic out, right? This is my last slide. The second region, the second differentiator is sort of a very differentiated security architecture, right? So very, I'll say, comprehensive, very differentiated security architecture from AWS. You as a user, you as a customer would control where your data would reside, right? You will have a very fine-grained control on your identity access, right? You will have the full power to automate your security, and you will have the full flexibility of integrating your AWS services into the security workflow, right? Lastly, across all the 5 security towers, so we talk about data protection, infrastructure protection, talk about remediation, compliance, and IEM, right? We have almost 35 plus services, which is by far the highest in the industry, and that is available to you as a user to make sure that you have the best secure environment for your application, right? With this,